Your father's far from being a well man, Miss Carrington.
Yes, I know.
Seeing you for the first time may be something of a shock to him.
I think I understand, Doctor.
He's been looking forward to your arrival with great eagerness. I hope there'll never be any occasion for you to be separated from him again. Come with me, please.
All right. Now we're ready. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Joy of Pixels podcast for Friday, August 28th, 2020. I am joined today by my esteemed colleague, the Akko Sambo. How are you doing today, Akko?
Doing all right. How are you?
I'm hanging in there. I feel like I'm struggling to get things going, but we got it going today.
You're nicely framed by the potted plants behind you.
Thank you. I did have another one in the middle, but it looks like it was growing out of my head, so I moved it.
Like you have a man bun sticking out.
Yeah. Welcome to everyone in chat. I'm glad you guys are here. Got a lot to talk about this week. We had a lot of news this week, lots of announcements. But before we get into those, let's jump into what we have been playing. Akko, sir, what have you been playing?
Yeah, first, we talked about it last week since you played it, but I then, after the podcast, also checked out the Marvel Avengers beta, and it was all right. I didn't mind it. I mean, it was kind of what I expected going in. I think I personally would prefer, like, my impression generally is that I didn't, the combat felt kind of samey between the heroes, but I didn't necessarily mind it. But I think I would prefer that in a solely single player experience, like a nice 10 to 15 hour single player campaign. And they obviously will have a single player campaign, and maybe I hope that it will be of decent size, but I wouldn't mind like a nice comic book action romp that is kind of mindless, but you have fun playing different heroes and have a decent story, and then that would be it. Would that be worth $60 for me? Probably not, but I had fun playing the part that I played, and I didn't mind it. I didn't have I have in one part I had a few frame rate drops, but other than that, the game ran pretty well, at least on console. So I didn't have too much issues there. And the part where there were issues, there was a very intense scene where there was a lot going on. So if they smooth things out until release, I think it will be fine in that regard.
Did you have a particular character that you felt like you enjoyed playing more with?
I thought I should say I played through kind of the intro section until you get to the mission select thing, and then I played a little bit of the first mission that I selected, and then the game crashed.
Oh.
It's a beta. It's a beta, yeah. So
I mean, it's not like it's coming out in a week or anything, you know?
Yeah. But then I stopped because progress wouldn't carry over anyway. So what was the point? I got my impression. But up until then, so most of the time I played with Hulk, and I thought Hulk was fine. I thought he had like a nice weight to it, and like you were smashing a lot of things like Hulk does. So I think for that it was fun. Then like the other characters, especially like in the very, very early section, you skip between characters pretty quickly. Check out a few. It felt a little generic there. I have the feeling that maybe because like the Hulk is very different, obviously, just in general to like a Captain America type, that they're probably the differences between a Captain America and a Black Widow, who are both like on their feet melee, are probably not as big. So I enjoyed the Hulk. Everything else we'll see.
Yeah, it's, I don't know, it's going to be interesting. I feel like that game could really go either way. Like it could, this could be just like the silent majority that is kind of or the vocal minority that is complaining about it, and then the silent majority kind of picks this game up. Your average gamer that doesn't really pay much attention to the news or anything, they pick it up. They just are Marvel fans, and they just have a blast with it, and it really takes off. It'll be interesting to see. I really don't know where this is going to go. It seems like it's big budget, massive budget that they're throwing at it. They really seem like they're banking on this being kind of obviously a games as a service type game that's going to last for a long time. Seems like a lot of these games as a service type games do not really last as long as they want them to last. I guess it just depends on how they keep it going. I heard that there was like a massive roster of characters that they were planning on releasing over the course of the next year or two, like 19 different characters.
I mean, Marvel doesn't lack characters, so
Yeah.
I think in that sense, I see it working, that you do have such a large roster to choose from. Like, obviously, like, you only scratch the surface even with 20 characters. So if they then regularly have updates, regularly introduce new characters, and obviously with their backstory and how they want to do it, then also introducing certain side missions and events, and so I can definitely see it work as these kind of service or games as a service game. And yeah, I mean, I think if you like this looter shooter genre, which is kind of is, although you are mostly melee, but get the point. It's running around, smashing things, picking things up, going on different missions. If you like it, I think it definitely has potential. It was fun to play. I don't know if the gameplay is fun enough to really keep me interested for a long time. But then again, it isn't for any other looter shooter either. So
Yeah.
I think if you like these types of games and are also at least semi-interested in the Marvel universe, I think that it definitely has potential. But at the same time, I also don't think that it does anything that much different to other looter shooters like The Division or Destiny or anything like that, that it would be like, if you don't like that genre of games, I don't think this will be the one that gets you either.
It's so hard to tell right now too, because I mean, granted, I have not really paid much attention to this at all. I know that they've had like weekly I can't even remember what they're calling them, but like weekly updates that they've been giving out talking about a lot of stuff. But it seems like a lot of the draw of these types of games is the end game, no pun intended, for these types of games, and what, how it really keeps you engaged after you finish the story. And I've like, I don't know if I've ever gotten to the end game of any of these games, because they're just not really for me, these looter shooter type games. I do enjoy the story for most, or maybe not most, but like pretty much any looter shooter that I'm going to play, I'm mostly just playing it to just run through the story. Like with Destiny, I went through, like the main story with that. I went through the main story of The Division. I've gone through the Borderlands series. But it's all just kind of like a single player experience for me. Like I play through it and then I'm done. And I imagine that'll probably be the same with this game. I can't imagine I would be picking this up on release and be waiting till midnight to launch it the second I get it. But maybe once it drops in price and I pick it up for $10 or something like that and just play through the story and be done with it. But yeah, I don't think we're the right kind of audience for this this type of game. But yeah, it looks like it
that
could
is
be
fine.
fun.
I think. Yeah, again, like, I do think it has potential, and like Cody said, picking it up on sale, I think, might be a move for me as well. Like at some point, it will be there for $10-15 or so, or it will be on PS Plus or something like that. And then yeah, I'll try it out. Like it was like the time that I spent with it, which was, I think, like maybe roughly an hour, maybe an hour and a half or so. It was fun. I had a good time with it. So yeah.
Yeah. What else you been playing?
I played through the Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered,
All right.
Call of Duty 4
Here we go.
Call of Duty 8.5. I don't know. I played through the Modern Warfare game, through the campaign, and I went in with no expectations and was still disappointed.
So you finished it?
Yeah, I finished the campaign, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. In the end, I feel like, so I obviously didn't go in and expected this grandiose story with like in-depth characters. I mean, it's an action romp. That's really what it is. But at the same time, I still felt like it was like very very generic, just run and gunning through
Yeah,
endless hordes of enemies.
it's Call of Duty.
Yeah, but I think at the same time, I also expected, since Call of Duty is such a hybrid, and I know that a lot of people do like the single player campaigns, that it was maybe not the best action single player experience, but at least like a good above average thing where it's kind of like, okay, that's kind of like the benchmark. But it wasn't really. Like, there were a couple of missions that I thought that were fun, that kind of changed it up. There's one where you kind of designate airstrikes that was fun. There's one that is a little more stealthy that was also fun. And those were also, in terms of presentation, a little bit different. But other than that, it really switches between two locations: a deserty location and a heavily forested location, where you run and gun your way through it and kill everything in your way. And then, and I won't spoil it, but in the end, it's just then tries so hard to deliver like an emotional ending, and I was just, I don't fucking care about these people, like about none of them. I don't know who they are. I think I got like 2.5 dialogue lines in the entire game, and now I'm supposed to care about this happening. So I don't know. It was. I think it takes itself too seriously, and without doing anything other than any B or C movie action flick has done. It's like, you're this part of this ultra tough division company squad, and you are going to take out the bad guys, usually Russian or German or Middle Eastern, and you are going to fight against this threat, and then in the end something will happen, and in the end it's just a teaser for another game. So it's really I will play Modern Warfare 2 since I already have it and might as well start it. But my expectations now are even lower. And I hope that they at least switch up the gameplay a little bit. Like, I even
They're
felt
not.
like the gunplay, the gunplay was not, I mean, it was fine. It was like, but it was also nothing special. And yeah, very, very disappointing.
Yeah, that's too bad. I really, really like Call of Duty. I like all of the single player campaigns. And Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare is probably it's not my favorite, but it's definitely up there with one of my favorites in terms of the single player campaign. So I feel like if you didn't like that one, you're probably not going to like any of the other ones. The second one tries to be like even more edgy. There's like a particular mission in particular that
I think I know about that one now.
The No Russian mission. Yeah, that like, you know, was a big controversial thing back in the day. I didn't really.
I think they even give you the option to skip that one. And
I think they do. Yeah.
There was like a warning when I did like the tutorial thing of Modern Warfare 2. Like, it was like, oh, there will be what do they call it? Offensive content. And do you want to skip that later on? Do you want to be reminded of that or not?
Yeah. I feel like they do try to make those games like be too edgy, and I guess for me, like I just never take them seriously. Like, I just go into those games just to like turn my brain off, just like I'm gonna go and watch a high budget action movie or something like that. Not really focusing too much on the plot or anything. But at the same time, I don't know. I still I like how scripted the events are, how it is just almost like a rail shooter. Like, you don't really have much in terms of like exploration or kind of going anywhere. It's just like, action, maybe a little bit of stealth. Maybe they, like you said, they change it up a little bit with the what is the mission called where you're in the C-130 and you're calling out
I don't know what
airstrikes or whatever, Death from Above or something like that. That was a really popular mission. But yeah, I don't know. I love that. I love that.
I feel like for me the difference is that, like, I don't even get the enjoyment of like a turn your brain off action movie from it, because I feel like the most of the set pieces are just there. Like, they don't even look particularly good. They are not particularly interesting in terms of setting or the map, so to speak. Basically the rail that you go down is nothing but like the same over and over again. Whereas I feel like at least other games, like at least visually, they give you something. And there were like a couple of moments in this campaign that were visually nice, but it was really like the one with the US Marine, where you are in some kind of Middle Eastern town. It was just like you just run from building to building, and every building there are 300 people inside, but it's like visually, or from the setup as like from a directive, from a narrative, like it's just one same looking building after another. And I think that is where I was disappointed that I didn't even get like visually like a good action movie for me, because there was just not much happening other than spray and praying and into nothingness, and like gunning down these hordes of enemies, which just, I mean, obviously that's the act, but I don't know. I feel like, at least from like the one location, it's not a spoiler, like you play a mission in Chernobyl, like that was visually nice. That was something different that stood
love
out.
that
like
mission.
Yeah, that's one of the two that really stood out for me, and that was kind of what I was hoping more in general, that you are switching between places and have interesting visuals and interesting location to go through, which then would also change up the combat a little bit, just because you're not just going from one street to the next street to the next street with houses on the side, but you have to navigate your way through different terrain and different areas.
But still, even in that mission, like, it's still very, very scripted.
Yeah, which is fine if it would be smarter.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I totally get your side of it. And it could just be like a thing to where I have literally played every single Call of Duty as they've come out since the very first Call of Duty, and it's just been like a ritual for me almost every year to, just get the new Call of Duty and just go through the single player campaign and have fun with that.
I get that. Yeah, I don't think that the game does necessarily anything too bad, but it's just, I was disappointed in the lack of effort, because I feel like even in terms of like a very rail shooter kind of very scripted action game, I still think the first Call of Duty is then better than that. And like in terms of the scripted nature of it, and in terms of the set pieces that you go through, and in terms of the locations that you go through, it is much more compelling and much more diverse than anything that I saw in Modern Warfare.
Yeah, I get what you're saying about the lack of diversity. Like, even though there are a lot of different locations, it is all just a bit samey in terms of the environments. I don't know. I really wonder what you would think about Infinite Warfare, because to me that is the most unique Call of Duty, I guess I would say, because of its setting, and like, I mean, it doesn't do anything too crazy, but it does like actually allow you to like do side missions and like optional missions and objectives and things like that. Plus, it takes place in space. It's much less rail shooty. Like you get in a spaceship and you literally can just like go wherever you want and do whatever you want in some areas. It does some really cool things, I think. But at the end of the day, like, it is still Call of Duty. So I don't know. They might just not be for you.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, I guess we will talk about Call of Duty later when we talk about that.
Yeah,
trailer.
I'm curious what you would think about Black Ops, because I personally didn't like Black Ops as much as the Modern Warfare series, but Black Ops deals with some I guess some more interesting stuff and some more kind of interesting conspiracy theories. And it also takes place in a very different time era. It's set more in like the Vietnam era and like the I always get it confused. I can't remember if Black Ops 1 or 2 does this, but one of them kind of like switches back and forth between like the 60s and the 80s. I think it might be Black Ops 2 that does that. But yeah, we'll I mean, we could go ahead and just kind of talk really quick about the new Call of Duty since we're talking about it. Did you watch the trailer for the new Call of Duty? Call of Duty
Yeah, the cinematic
Black Ops Cold War.
Yeah.
It's a mouthful.
So we're talking about the same thing when it's like this weird meeting in the conference room, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I watched that right after finishing Modern Warfare,
Okay.
and I watched that and I thought, it's just not for me. It's like, I mean, just more deeply voiced, very manly men
Yeah.
with beards.
It's
and
very over
shades
the
and
top.
scars, and then Reagan as the savior of the free world, and we have to do this to protect the free world and to freedom. It's like I can't. Like, I feel like nah.
That was a good looking Reagan, though, I thought.
I mean, as good as he can look.
It's everyone's favorite actor.
Yeah.
Reagan was an actor before he became president.
Yeah. I'm aware.
Yeah, so this
One might say he was even an actor afterwards.
maybe even during. Yeah, so this game apparently takes place. It's weird. It's supposedly a direct sequel to Black Ops 1, even though we already had a sequel to Black Ops 1, which was Black Ops 2. So I don't know if this is kind of like pretending like Black Ops 2 just didn't take place. And maybe
we're at that point in a franchise.
Well, I mean, we've already been there because we had Call of Duty. The last Call of Duty was Call of Duty Modern Warfare, which was kind of like a retelling of Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, but they also changed a lot of things and it wasn't the same. So I don't know. It's weird. I don't like. I do want to go back and play Black Ops 1 and 2. I don't think Black Ops 3 really had anything to do with the previous games because it took place like way in the future. But Black Ops 1 and 2, a lot of people really liked the story from that. I never really thought it was that great. But I think I've only played them one time, so I would like to go back and play through the games again. You know, one nice thing about them, as I'm sure you've noticed, is they're very short. I mean, you can usually play through those single player campaigns in like 5 to 6 hours. But yeah, this new one, it supposedly takes place, I think, in 1981, and it's supposed to take place after the events of Black Ops 1. And I guess it has the same characters, which people are really excited about. Again, I wasn't super hot on them. But, I mean, again, I'm down. I play these every year. It's my guilty pleasure.
Yeah, like Opossums has in chat. It's like, yeah, a lot of people dig them, and I know that a lot of people dig them, and that's totally fine. I just think it's just not for me.
Yeah.
This doesn't hit the spot for me. I will give it give Modern Warfare 2 a try. Try to play through that next week. Also plan on checking out Call of Duty World War II, which I have. So I already own them from PS Plus. Might as well check them out, and maybe I have some different opinions on them. My expectations are low.
World War II you might actually like because it definitely does. I think it does a much better job at doing kind of like a band of brothers kind of thing, like really kind of try and push the narrative a little bit more and really try and get you to care about the characters and everything like that. But again, like at the end of the day, it's still Call of Duty.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be interesting. I was actually playing a little bit. I got back into Modern Warfare, the new Modern Warfare, not the remastered Modern Warfare, not the Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, the new Just Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019. Oh, it's a lot to figure all this stuff out. But yeah, so it was. I should have gone back a little bit. The way that they revealed Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War was they revealed it within Modern Warfare. They were trying to do like the Fortnite thing where, you know, everybody would. I don't know how it worked, honestly. I guess everybody would just like gather around an area in the war zone, which is their battle royale, and they would just drop a big screen or something and show a trailer. I think it's a cool idea, but first of all, I didn't have Modern Warfare installed when I found out that they were doing this, and I have really fast internet, but I couldn't download 200 gigabytes in like the 15 minutes that I needed. So I was like, okay, well, that's fine. I'll just watch, you know, some random streamer on Twitch. And like every one of the streamers that I was looking at, they were all just stuck in a queue, like with errors popping up, with network errors. And I was like, this is a terrible idea.
Yeah. That reminds me, by the way, of another thing that I like at the end of Modern Warfare, when the credits roll, they play the announcement for Modern Warfare and kind of just blow their own horn about like, oh, we will hit hard and fast or something like that. It's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Like it's like a trailer ending for the second one. Is that what they do?
No, it was during the credits. It sounded like the announcement for the release of Modern Warfare.
Of the new Modern Warfare?
No, of the original one.
What?
Like
That's weird.
It was like a promo during the credits
for the game that you just played.
Yes, basically saying like them announcing this new awesome experience. Kind of. It was as if they were saying, "See, we told you it was great, wasn't it?" Like just when the credits hit, and I was like,
"That is weird. I don't remember that."
Maybe it's just in the remastered.
I played the remastered. I don't, but maybe I just didn't watch the credits.
Yeah. Right in the beginning of the credits.
That's weird. Yeah, so they tried to reveal the Cold War within Warzone, and I guess some people saw it. I never saw it. After trying to go through like 20 different streamers, and they were just all stuck in queues and all just complaining about, you know, network errors. But they finally dropped the trailer a few minutes later on Twitter and on YouTube, and watched it. But yeah, I don't know. This whole year is weird. Normally we would have heard about Call of Duty, the new Call of Duty, like back in May, and obviously that got delayed because of, you know, the mess, and it's weird. But I think they're going to be revealing the multiplayer, doing the multiplayer reveal next week, which I know a lot of people are much more interested in that than the single player. I am kind of interested in what they're going to be doing with that, because they have such a strong player base in Modern Warfare right now. I think this is easily the best place Call of Duty in terms of multiplayer has ever been with Modern Warfare. And it's just bizarre to me that they're just going to like come out with a whole new game and just say like, okay, you got to switch over to this if you want to keep playing. I mean, obviously you could keep playing Modern Warfare, and maybe people will. But it seems like it's really just going to split the user base. Unless they do something like to merge Warzone with this. But I don't know how that's going to work. I think it's going to be interesting.
I have been wondering why they're not completely separating the multiplayer releases and single player releases anyway. Every 2 years you release a new single player campaign game, and every 2 years you release a new multiplayer experience. Feels to me like the way to go, honestly.
It feels like that, but at the same time, I mean, Call of Duty is just massive, and they sell like crazy every single year. So, why would they change if they're just making ridiculous amounts of money by just dropping these every year? But I mean, they are kind of doing that, I feel like, because Warzone is a completely free to play product. You don't have to have you don't have to have Modern Warfare to play Warzone. You do have to have Modern Warfare to play the other multiplayer modes. But yeah, I've wondered that as well. Why? And they have experimented with that. Like they have sold a couple of the Call of Duty games. They have sold just the multiplayer aspect for like a $40 or something like that. And I don't know how successful that's been. It seems like it would be pretty successful because it seems like the most people are buying these games for multiplayer. But yeah, I don't know. It's weird. They obviously know what they're doing though, because they're making bank with these games.
I guess so.
Let's see. Have you been playing anything else? Is that it?
No, not really. No.
Avengers beta and Call of Duty Warfare Remastered. Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare Remastered.
Remastered, yes.
Yeah, so I was playing a little bit of the multiplayer in Modern Warfare 2019. Just been messing around a little bit with that. The main games that I've been playing, though, still going through Resident Evil Revelations 2. Still having fun with that. That game is actually getting better. It's getting more interesting the more I get into it. I mean, I was enjoying it in the beginning, but I think the story is getting even more interesting, and the characters that it deals with is interesting. Speaking of Chernobyl and Pripyat, I actually went back to an old game called Stalker: Shadow of Chernobyl. Have you ever heard of this game?
I heard of this game, yeah.
So this was an old game that came out in 2007, and it always made me mad because this game was literally set in Chernobyl, and I got like super interested in Chernobyl when this game came out because I didn't really know a whole lot about what happened in the nuclear power plant and how it almost melted down, and how the entire town of 50,000 people had to evacuate basically overnight. And then Call of Duty 4 came out and had that level in there, and then everybody was talking about Chernobyl, and I was like, I was talking about this before and nobody ever paid attention to this. But yeah, so this is a really interesting game. It's a survival RPG, kind of hardcore tactical type game that is set in kind of an alternate reality, or an alternate universe, I guess, where you have these stalkers, as they call them, that go into the zone, which the zone is the area around the Chernobyl power plant that still is highly radiated. And these people go in and they find artifacts that are have been affected by radiation, and they sell them. And there's also all kinds of mutated creatures and weird stuff that's going on. And the basic gist of the game is you wake up, you have amnesia, very cliche kind of RPG type thing. But you wake up, you don't know who you are, and you have a PDA that just says to kill Straylock. And it's very kind of open-ended. It's an open world game. You can kind of go anywhere, do whatever you want. It's very kind of hardcore. Like you can straight up just kill NPCs and like break quests and things like that. So it's a bit janky, but it's kind of a niche game that I really, really enjoyed when it came out. And with the reveal of Stalker 2 that was picked up by Microsoft, it really made me want to go back to those games. There's actually 3 of them. There's Shadow of Chernobyl, Clear Sky, and Call of Pripyat. And they have always just kind of held a special place in my heart. So I've gone back and started playing that, and honestly really having a good time with that game. It is It is one of the most atmospheric games I've ever played. Even though it's a bit older, 2007, it still looks incredible. It has a really, really impressive lighting system, really, really amazing sound and environments. It's just a really fun game. Other than that, I also we'll talk a little bit more about this too, but with the reveal of the new, not really Batman stuff, but the Arkham type games, I never actually finished any of the Arkham trilogy games, and I never really even got very far into any of them. I always heard that Arkham Asylum was so good, and the other ones really, I know a lot of people really loved those, but I just never could get into those for whatever reason. I always struggled with the combat, not really like the difficulty, but just enjoying the combat.
Mhm.
But I watched the reveal of Gotham Knights, and I was like, man, I really need to get back into Arkham Asylum and just try and push myself into getting into those. So I have been doing that, and I've been having a really good time with it. I still, I don't know. It's hard for me to describe. I still, like, I really enjoy it when I'm playing it, but I'm not like just dying to get back to it. But I am enjoying it while I'm playing it.
Yeah,
Um,
I not too long ago I played through Asylum and City again, and one thing that I definitely noticed there is that City is definitely more polished, both in gameplay and like just in everything. Feels a little more
City
like
is the
Asylum.
second one, is that right?
Yeah, the second one. Yeah,
Okay.
and Asylum is a little more rougher around the edges and a lot of things, but obviously laid the groundwork for that for then City.
Yeah, I do really like how it's kind of got some Metroid aspects to it, where you have a lot of areas that are inaccessible, and then you start to get upgrades and abilities that allow you to access those areas. I think the map is really bad in that game. A lot of times, I mean, the map itself is fine, but a lot of times, like, it just tells you to go somewhere to do this, but it doesn't really like give you any indication of where this is on the map or like what's really you're supposed to do. And so I've had to look a couple of things up. It just has been a little confusing to me.
Mm.
But I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying just kind of slowly going through it and just kind of exploring the environments. I like how you have the Riddler clues that you can find throughout there, but it's not like they force you to find those. It's just kind of fun exploration to find those.
The games are full of detail and full of things to find and to discover.
Yeah.
So that is in all of the games where they did a great job of kind of making you want to explore things. It doesn't give you any benefits, even things that are not even collectibles, but just kind of looking at the environments kind of tells a lot of the story of what might have happened, or certain hints for other characters from the universe that never really get spelled out. So that is very interesting about those games.
I also really appreciate how they give you XP for just every little thing that you do, like, you know, just finding a clue or just, you know, doing the smallest things. You get a small amount of XP, and that just is one of my biggest pet peeves in games, is when like there's just pointless collectibles or things like that. So I like how you get a little bit of XP for finding clues or hitting those, I don't know what you call them, the teeth thing.
Yeah.
What are those things called?
Yeah. I'm not sure how they, but I know what you mean.
Like, you know, even just fighting those and just hitting them with your Batarang, you get like 50 XP or something like that. But yeah, I think I'm about halfway through Arkham Asylum now, and I'm looking forward to getting through that and then moving on to City. And then, did you play Origins?
I played all of them, yeah.
Because I've heard very mixed things about Origins. I've heard some people say it's like one of their favorite ones, but other ones say it's like very different because it wasn't made by Rocksteady. It was made by WB Montreal, I believe. So it's a little bit different take.
Yeah.
But I think it takes place during Christmas, if I remember right. So I think what I want to do is wait and maybe play that one like closer to December during the holidays. I love those kind of games where it's like a holiday themed game and you play it around the holiday. I love doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense. I always my favorite was always Arkham City because I felt like that is really where you had all the things you needed in terms of gameplay, but it was all polished. The story was the best in my opinion. Whereas then in Origin, I didn't mind Origin. I thought it was not as strong as City from. So I think in that sense it was a letdown for a lot of people. But I didn't feel that it was that much worse either. It had some issues, but also some strong points. Probably the boss fights in Arkham Origins are the best one of the series. They're usually not great in the series, but the ones in Origins are a little more thought through and a little more interesting, in my opinion. And then Arkham Knight had some pretty cool aspects to it, some not so cool aspects, but overall, I enjoyed all of them. I think you can make a case. They all have some pros and cons to it. I personally prefer a City. I know that a lot of people prefer Origin, not Origin, but Asylum, because they started with that, and it's a little more confined, and I can see that
a little more self-contained.
Yeah, exactly. I think all of them. If, in my opinion, if you like one of them, you probably will have a decent time with all of them.
Yeah, I'm enjoying going through it. All right, let's see. Let's go ahead and run through the games that are announcing this week. So I put this game on here because apparently it's a big game. I didn't know what in the world Captain Tsubasa is. Do you know what this is?
Oh, it's from the soccer anime.
Okay. Captain Tsubasa Rise of the New Champions is coming out for PC, PS4, and Switch today. We also have Project Cars 3 releasing for PC, PS4, and Xbox One. Heard that game is not too great. It's getting pretty mixed to negative reviews. Sounds like it was quite unfinished. Wasteland 3 released today. That game is getting very good reviews. Very, very excited to sit down and really sink my teeth into that. I really want to play that game. Are you interested in that game at all?
Yeah, 100%. I will definitely get it once I can afford it.
It's on Game Pass. I don't know if it would run on your PC, but it's
I'll have to see. But
yeah,
it's definitely on my list.
Yeah,
I'm very interested.
Windbound also released today. That was the kind of Zelda-like kind of adventure crafting game. Unfortunately, it looks like it's getting really bad reviews. It's really too bad. I really, really was hoping that game was going to be good. I really liked the art style of it. Crusader Kings 3 releases on...
Like Binbound.
Binbound. Crusader Kings 3 releases for PC on September 1st. There is a very small subset of people that are going to be crazy about this game. Did you ever play any of the Crusader Kings games?
I played a little bit of the second one. I played more of the Europa Universalis games.
Oh, okay.
Which are also by Paradox and kind of similar-ish.
It's these grand strategy, super complex games. I never have been able to get into them.
They can be a real-time sucker. And as you know, I do like long and boring games. Here is my out-of-the-park baseball reference of the day. So I played a bunch of, I think it was Europa Universalis 3 and a little bit of 4. It just, they are hard to get into, but I feel like once you get into them, they get very quickly very addictive.
Yeah, that seems to be the case. And that's one of the reasons. I'm
interested in Crusader Kings 3 to check it out at some point if it comes.
Yeah, that's kind of one of the reasons why I never really pushed myself too much to get into it, because I was afraid that I just may never play anything else again.
Yeah.
Also on September 1st, we have Elder Scrolls Online Stonethorn DLC is dropping. And then next Friday, we have Marvel's Avengers for PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Stadia. And we also have Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. The remake is coming out.
Oh yeah, right.
Did you ever play any of those games? Any of the Tony Hawk games?
I played one of them a little bit at a friend's play. I think it was the first Tony Hawk Pro Skater when it came out on PlayStation. And I played a bunch of Tony Hawk Underground too. That was with the whole Jackass crew and all of that in it, and had like a wacky story to it. That one I played. It was a lot of fun. Yeah.
I never played any of these. I never got into the skateboarding games. They were all on consoles, and I was always on PC. I was always the nerd on PC, so never got to experience these. I'm kind of interested to try them out. It seems like they're pretty good. It seems like they did a really good job on the remake. It does look like it's more of a remake and not a remaster. So I might check them out. Probably not on release, but maybe if they go on sale, I'll pick them up at some point. Let's see. That is everything that's releasing this week, or at least the notable games. I know there's a bunch of other games, obviously, that are releasing this week, but I'm not going to go through everything. But let me know if I missed anything that you are excited for. Let's go ahead and move into the news. So this feels like forever ago because we've had, I guess, so much stuff happen this week, but and it was also like the day after we did our podcast last week, but DC Fandom happened, and they announced a bunch of stuff, but mainly game related stuff. They announced first of all, they announced the Gotham Knights. Did you get a chance to watch these trailers or check any of these out?
Yes, I saw some of it, yeah.
So and
the Gotham Knights, interestingly, is not connected to the Arkham
That's
series.
what I was going to say. This is very confusing. So Gotham Knights is the WB Montreal game that looks and feels much more like the Arkham Asylum games, which was made by, or the Arkham games, which were made by Rocksteady. But this, even though it looks like it's a direct continuation of the Arkham games, this is a completely different universe that it's taking place in. But this is more of a single player game, but it does have co-op, 2-player co-op. You have 4 different characters to choose from. There's Batgirl, there's Nightwing, Red Hood, and Robin. And it seems like this is centered more in the Court of Owls storyline, which I don't know much about, but it seems like it's a pretty interesting storyline from what fans have been saying. Do you know anything about this? Are you more into this than I am?
The rough outline from. So I don't know. I know the rough idea behind what the Court of Owls is.
So the trailer starts out with Batman or Bruce Wayne leaving a message saying that he is dead, and
Get away. I'm dead. See you later.
If you're watching this, I'm dead. It was a really good trailer, though. Do what?
Please turn off the stove, Robin.
It was a really well done trailer. So he is apparently dead, even though there's a lot of theories saying that he's not dead. And he has left his resources to the Bat family, I guess, which are these 4 characters: Batgirl, Nightwing, Red Hood, and Robin. And it looked really good. It looked really fun. A lot of people, again, there was more confusion about this because people were thinking that like this may be a games as a service type game, but they clarified that this is more of just a single player game, but with co-op, with the option to co-op. But people were really worried because they were showing some gameplay, and the bad guys, the enemies, had levels above their head, and there were like numbers popping off as you're doing damage and things like that. And apparently people don't like that. I mean, I didn't have any problem with it. I had looked into this and had read more about this, that this was not a games as a service game. I think they're just, having levels for enemies, which I think is perfectly fine. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be a looter shooter type game.
And apparently it also, I read that kind of like the difficulty of bosses kind of adjust to your level to keep it fair, I guess.
Yeah.
So I read that you can pretty much explore anything at any point, but that it's kind of balanced. So you can do a lot of side stuff, but you don't have to.
Yeah. But
That's
I
why
thought
I
this looked
found
really
it.
good. What did you think?
Yeah, I thought it looks fun. I mean, it does look very much like an Arkham game, which makes it so confusing.
Yeah.
But it looks fun. Yeah, I'm up for it. It sounds interesting. I think the chances are about 0% that with 2 games in the DC universe coming out, that there won't be any Batman in either of them.
Yeah.
So I think chances are pretty good that there will be some Batman in some capacity in at least one of the 2 games that they announced.
I mean, I would honestly be fine if Batman didn't show up in this game. It seemed like a bunch of
100%, yeah.
people were upset that he wasn't going to be in here. But I mean, we've
I
gotten
would prefer
4.
it actually.
We've gotten 4 other games with Batman. I think it's cool that they're doing something different.
Yeah, I mean that's the same how I feel like just in general when we talk about like reboots of comic book movies. It's the same with Spider-Man. Like I don't need like the 5th Venom or something like that. You just give me like there's so many to choose from. It's the same. Like we by now it feels like we get a new Joker every year. So like Batman is known for having one of the biggest and best rogue galleries, and it all boils down to the Joker in the end. So get creative a little bit, and I would prefer if they have no Batman at all in either of the games and can live without him completely, only reference to him. Totally fine with that. I think that would be actually good because it would then build these new characters. They are not new characters, but like in this for a new gaming franchise, maybe these characters up instead of like just diverting the attention back to big old bats.
Yeah, absolutely. So moving on, they announced the next game, which is the continuation of the Arkham universe, which is again very confusing. So they announced Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Real quickly, we should say Gotham Knights is scheduled for 2021, and Suicide Squad is scheduled for 2022. And
get hyped.
The only thing we got was just a cinematic trailer.
Yeah.
This, I don't know about you, but this just didn't do anything for me.
I mean, it's just so hard to tell at this point. It's 2 years out. It's a cinematic trailer. The only thing that you can tell from that, oh yeah, those are the characters to play. Okay, cool. Anything else is really it's just as much up in the air as last year when people were talking about a potential Suicide Squad game. Like it's just about as vague as before, just that now we have some visuals of how the characters look. But other than that,
yeah, judging by the reaction of people seem pretty mixed to kind of disappointed, I would say, with this. I don't think that they're so disappointed that like we're getting a Suicide game, more so that like it's been 7 or it will be 7 years that Rocksteady has put out a game, and like they put out this trailer that is just a straight up cinematic trailer, and we still have basically no idea what this game is. They did also confirm that this will be a games as a service type game, and I think that that's really interesting too, because I feel like games as a service is just already starting to lose steam, and like 2 years from now I can't imagine that it's like still going to be like going strong.
Yeah, it feels like DC is once again kind of a step behind Marvel in terms of their planning.
Yeah.
Like with the whole cinematic universe, Marvel started that, DC tried it and it failed for various reasons. But now, like Marvel's Avengers comes out as a games as a service, and in 2 years we have Suicide Squad coming out. Yeah, not a fan of that. And also, I mean, let's be real, they won't kill those Justice League.
Yeah, so I don't know a whole lot about comics. I'm not my nerd cred is not high enough for this. But seems like the main bad guy is going to be Superman, and you were going to be killing
Potentially.
Superman.
Well, the main bad guy seems to be no, I'm not
Bizarro,
sure.
is that his name?
No. That is basically the reverse version.
The reverse version
Superman.
of Superman.
No, but Brainiac. Yes, Brainiac. That was the name. I wasn't sure. So he seems to be the ultimate bad guy behind it, brainwashing the Justice League and like turning them against the Earth, and that is how you then why they turn to the Suicide Squad, who then is the only ones that are able to stop them. Although there are millions of others superheroes, but I guess the only guy that we could find is a guy with a boomerang and a shark. But so we take those, and they won't kill the Justice League though. We won't see where they kill Superman. Maybe they kill like some D-rank member of the Justice League, Super Dog, or something like that. But no, they won't kill Superman. It will be something like breaking the mind control of Brainiac or something like that. So.
Well, I'll see you in 2022. I'll see you in 2022 when this is delayed to 2023.
Probably, yeah. If it comes out at all. Maybe by then they scrap the whole games as a service thing anyway.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it just like evolves into a single player game. I don't know. It's just weird. Yeah, I would love to know what other people think about this. What your hype level is. Mine, I'm much more interested in Gotham Knights. I think that looks really good. This just looks like okay. Wake me up in 2022 and I'll see what I think, or when I at least see some gameplay. It is a games as a service, Pete. Yeah. Let's see. Moving on. We talked a little bit about Call of Duty. The other big thing that happened was, of course, Gamescom started and is officially going on right now. It's going on virtually. And they had Gamescom opening night live, which is their second year of doing this. This is Jeff Keighley's he's been putting this on, and this was 2 hours of a few game announcements, mostly just game updates. Which
they said before the event happened that there won't be much announcement.
He did a very good job at setting expectations. Yeah, he was like, don't get too excited. We're not having any big announcements or anything like that. This is mostly just updates. But I gotta say, I honestly enjoyed this. Did you get a chance to watch any of this?
I watched some clips.
So I'll just kind of run through the announcements. We won't go over everything because there was a lot of games that they showed off. They had a pre-show though, and they actually showed off some really interesting stuff during the pre-show. They showed off a game called Quantum Error that looked really, really interesting. It looked kind of like a Dead Space, Silent Hill kind of spooky game set on a space station or something like that. It looked really, really cool. Not much other info about it, but I'm definitely interested to check that out. Jurassic World Evolution coming to Switch. We got another big look at the Call of Duty Cold War campaign. I think it was all just a cinematic trailer. I think that was the one that you were talking about, that they were all just kind of sitting in the Situation Room or whatever with the president. All very serious, very deep voices.
And shades. Lots of shades.
And shades, yeah. And smoking. Lots of smoke and shade blinds with like the light coming through and showing off the smoke trails.
Very important.
Yeah. They did have a couple of new announcements. So they showed off a game called Unknown 9. I don't know if you remember seeing this. This was the game with it looks like an Indian girl who looks to have some kind of superpowers, or is kind of discovering that she has superpowers. It looks like it could be good. It was just a cinematic trailer, so don't know a whole lot about that. They showed off the next or the first piece of DLC for Doom Eternal, which is getting a single player DLC, which is very cool because the 2016 Doom, just called Doom, everybody really wanted some single player DLC, and we just didn't get anything for that. I really need to go back to Doom Eternal. I don't know why, for whatever reason, I just couldn't get into it at the time. I loved Doom 2016, and I played through a bit of the new one, and it just didn't do it for me when I was playing it. So I don't know. I need to get back to it. I think I'll enjoy it. Let's see. So we got some. This was kind of weird. We got some Dragon Age news. I was not expecting this. I don't think a lot of people were expecting this at all. But we got some. I don't know. Did you see any of this? It wasn't a trailer. It was just like some behind the scenes talking with the devs, some kind of B-roll of voice actors. They did show a lot of concept art. They showed like some in-game renderings of some things. It was I don't know. It was kind of all over the place, but they're basically just acknowledging that they're still working on it. This still looks very, very early. It's so weird to me, though, that they didn't show or didn't really even mention any of this during the earlier EA Play that they did earlier this year. You think that they would have included that, but I don't know. Weird. But yeah, Dragon Age, it's still there. They're still working on it. We had quite possibly one of the weirdest introductions of a video game from I can't remember the actor's name, the guy that plays Doc Brown in Back to the Future. He introduced Surgeon Simulator 2 is available in a bizarre kind of Back to the Future spoof. Speaking of weird crossovers, there's a Walking Dead bridge constructor game that's coming out.
We've all been waiting for that one.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm gonna just skip over a few things here. World of Warcraft Shadowlands got a date that's coming October 27th. Let's see what else. There was a cool game called Teardown. Did you see this game?
No.
This was kind of a voxel art style, where you the entire world is destructible. It looks like there might be kind of randomly generated levels, and it looks like you plan out a heist, and then you kind of plan it out, and then you like you run through it after you plan it out, and you can kind of destroy everything. It looks like you might be racing with other people trying to do it the fastest that you can do it. And it just looked cool because like everything was destructible. They showed like cars going through walls of buildings and trucks flying through giant buildings and things like that. Looks like it could be really interesting.
Sounds interesting.
They showed off Little Nightmares 2. They showed off a little bit more of Star Wars Squadrons. That looks like it's still shaping up to be pretty good. They showed off quite a bit of Star Wars stuff, actually. There's a Star Wars Sims game pack coming. When I first saw this, I was like, are you kidding me? This looks ridiculous. But then the more they were showing it, I was like, I think I might kind of be into this. It looks like it could be kind of fun. They showed off a little.
The way of The Sims.
Yeah, they showed off a little bit more of this game called 12 Minutes. This is the game that is kind of like the top-down perspective. It looks like you're kind of viewing someone's apartment, and a guy is talking to his wife, and this man is stuck in a time loop that I guess is every 12 minutes. It looks really, really good. I've really been interested in this for a long time. They showed off the main draw of this now seems to be that they they got some really big actors to do the voices. They got James McAvoy, Daisy Ridley, and William Dafoe as the voices. So besides that, the game just looks really interesting too. They still didn't put a date on it. They just said coming soon, but that game looks really interesting. They showed this was like the most bizarre trailer for, I guess it was a trailer for Godfall. It was literally like 12 seconds. I think there had to be an error here. Like they had to have had a longer trailer, but they just showed off like this new suit or something for this character, and it was literally just like them walking out, and then it just like cut away, and they were like, "All right, next thing." Very, very strange. Let's see. They showed off a little bit more Mafia Definitive Edition. That game looks to be very good. Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. That has officially been delayed to 2021 now. But they showed off a new trailer for that, and that game looks really, really fun.
I look forward to it.
It looks like it has full voice acting, which is kind of bizarre for a Lego game. And it takes place over all 9 games. I've also heard that game is they're doing like some really cool things compared to how the older Lego games were. Where this game you can kind of like go in any direction you want to do. You have side quests and can do different things.
You had that a little bit in the last Lego Star Wars game, Lego Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Like you had larger areas where there were some side quests then going on.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It comes out supposedly in spring 2021. They showed off a really cool looking game called Struggling. This is actually I believe Reality said it was a sister studio of the studio that he works for that released this game, and seems to be doing very well. It reminds me of Heave Ho. I don't know if you know the game Heave Ho, but it looks like it is. It looks like a co-op game. You can play it in co-op, but I think you can also play it single player. It's basically you're like a creature that has 2 arms, and you're trying to like you grab onto one thing, and then you like swing across and grab on to something else with your arm, and you're like trying to go through these environments without falling. And so I guess the co-op nature is like one person controls one arm, the other person controls the other arm. But it looks really interesting. It's got kind of a cool art style. Age of Empires 3 is coming. I don't see it on here. I think they said next month or either October. Might have been October 15th. That is just a remaster, or I guess a definitive edition, they're calling it. I really want to get some Age of Empire 4 news. I feel like that game was announced a long time ago, and we just haven't heard a whole lot about it.
Ages
ago. We got a very small look at Chorus. I think this was shown during the originally shown during the PS5 reveal of their trailers. It's the kind of space flight, not really simulator, but space game where it looks like you're stuck in a time loop or something. But it's got some really cool visuals. Very cool looking game. It's coming out 2021. Fall Guys Season 2. Medal of Honor, they revealed this a while back, but they're making a VR game.
Where's Medal of Honor guy?
What'd you say?
Where's Medal of Honor guy?
Where's Medal of Honor guy? Do we have a Medal of Honor guy?
It's not honking.
Oh, I got you. We need him. It's because it's VR. He must not like VR.
Yeah, maybe he's getting the game. Maybe he's working with them.
Yeah. Yeah, this game looks like it could go either way. I know a lot of people were kind of disappointed because there is a very that's a very beloved franchise, the Medal of Honor games, and we haven't really gotten one of those in a long time. And then all of a sudden they come out with like a new Medal of Honor game, and it's in VR. I think it's pretty cool that they're doing that though. Like I don't know if they just put out a new Medal of Honor single player game, like if it would really do anything. Because I feel like that
good, because there are no good single player FPS shooter, as I found out.
I mean,
it'd be nice to have a good one.
Yeah, there was. I don't know. I mean, Battlefield, those are pretty good. You haven't never played any of the Battlefield games, have you?
I played Battlefield 2 and I played Battlefield Bad Company 1, I think.
Okay.
1 or 2.
I
don't know. I confuse them. They're all the same.
I know. They all just kind of are the same games. This game, I think it looks like it could be kind of cool though, and I think that they're specifically making this for VR. I think that VR is really, really hard to show on a 2D screen, but the trailer that they showed I thought looked really cool. They showed off a lot of Destiny stuff. New Destiny expansion is coming in November. And then they ended with a pretty lengthy Ratchet and Clank, or not really a trailer, it was just straight up gameplay. And then kind of a little interview with the developers. And they said that the game is coming in the launch window of the PS5. Whatever that means.
Whatever that means. So within the next 5 years.
Yeah. Somewhere between now and 2025. That game is coming out. Yeah. Was there anything that like really stood out for you with that?
No, not really. I mean, more things that we already knew about, but nothing really definitive in terms of that. We didn't get any dates or release windows for Dragon Age or like Ratchet and Clank. We knew that it would come out roughly around the time of the PS5. Everything else, like there are certainly some things that could be interesting, but it's still too early to know.
Yeah,
really. Things like 12 minutes was before intriguing, but we still have no release date, so it's still intriguing, but nothing really new there either. So I mean, it's fine. I guess really the most definitive in all of that is season 2 Fall Guys. We know when it comes out, what it will be. And we got some visuals of it. So
it's crazy that they're already talking about Fall Guys season 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I feel kind of the same way. Quantum Error looks really, really interesting. But at the same time, the more I started looking into that game, this is just bizarre to me. So I started looking into this game. And apparently it's a very small studio, 4 people that are working on it. And apparently they don't even have like voice actors or mocap done, but they're planning on releasing this game this year. And they have like a GoFundMe for like $65,000 to raise money to pay voice actors and mocap. And they've raised like $1,700.
I mean,
I just don't understand how, like,
I'm putting that out there. Give me $500 and I voice act that game.
How do you put out a trailer in? I mean, this was like the pre-show of Gamescom, but how do you get to a point to like where you put out a trailer, but yet your game is in this state to where like you're literally raising money on GoFundMe?
It's almost finished. It's just missing voice acting and acting and characters, and it's almost done.
I don't know. And it's so weird because it's like you have such a big audience that this went out to. Why didn't they just like do a Kickstarter and say like, hey, we're on Kickstarter. This is our Kickstarter trailer. Come help us out on Kickstarter, to all these thousands and thousands of people that would have watched us. Instead, they put out like this really cool trailer. And I was like, whoa, this looks really cool. When is this coming out? And I was like, oh, it's coming out this year. And then I look in it and it's like, yeah, it's coming out this year, but we don't have our voice actors or mocap done. But we do have this GoFundMe that you can donate to, you know, if you want to. It's just, I don't know. I don't understand game development. Somebody please make this make sense for me.
I don't think it will come out this year.
I don't think it will either. Good trailer though. Let's see. Okay. I didn't put this in the rundown because I almost forgot about it, but this is bizarre, Rocco. You may have already heard about this. In the ongoing Sony debacle with this release bizarreness, I got an email, and I would like to tell you that I have the privilege of signing up to get a chance to pre-order the console that we don't know when it's coming out and we don't know how much it is, but I get a chance to pre-order it now.
I mean, congratulations.
This is bizarre. So Sony is sending out emails to, apparently this is also only in the US. They're sending out emails to people to allow you to sign up for the opportunity. I think they literally worded it like the opportunity to pre-order. And apparently this was according to a Polygon article. The way that they are picking who gets the opportunity to pre-order is by your PlayStation activity, whatever that means. So I guess it's like how much you've played.
On.
Yeah, I know. I was like, well, maybe I should turn my PlayStation on and just like, turn, I don't know, Bloodborne on and just leave it running for the next 3 months, and maybe I'll get a chance to pre-order this thing. This is just, what is happening? Like, we're almost in September. We're presumably 2 months away from these consoles, and we still have no idea when they're coming out, how much they are. There's no games coming out with these things. I don't even know why we're excited about buying them. I don't get it. I don't know what's happening.
You now have the opportunity to sign up for the chance to buy the ultimate cat in the bag. Don't know what it is. You don't know why it is. You don't know how much it is. But you may get it.
In other news, I'd like to offer everyone the opportunity to sign up to listen to our podcast completely for free. How can you beat that?
I mean, we don't disclose any further costs, but we will announce that soon.
I just wanted to throw that out there. I thought that was bizarre.
Yeah, it is bizarre. I saw somewhere like a retweet or something of that email.
Akko, it is time to check our friendly wagers. How are you feeling?
I mean, unless things have changed dramatically over the last couple of hours.
So this is something new that we were doing. Every week we're going to have a little friendly wager. Last week, our wager was Wasteland 3 was launching today. I'm going to go to twitch.tv and see how many people are streaming Wasteland 3. We wanted to know what that
Twitch
number...
is down. I think it doesn't count.
We wanted to know what that number was going to be. You chose how many, sir?
I think I said 11,900.
I don't think that was right. I wrote it down because I was afraid I was going to forget.
Very confident in saying 100,000. It's not my fault that the game sucks. Apparently.
I thought you said more than that, didn't you? Didn't you say 120?
I mean, could also be.
It doesn't matter. You're way off.
It doesn't matter. I'm way off.
So I said 43,000. Current viewers on twitch.tv for Wasteland 3, we are at 11,900 viewers, Akko.
I'm not good at math. What does that mean?
I want to say, earlier today, I did check this like around 11 o'clock, and I think there were like 53,000. I was feeling really good because I chose 43. But yeah, I didn't quite hit that big number that you were thinking.
I was more optimistic. As always, I'm the optimistic one here.
Oh, yeah.
So, again, I was proven wrong by the world.
It's so interesting, though, because it could go either way. Like, there could be, some massive streamer that comes on and puts this on
Yeah,
and then gets like
I
80,000
wonder
views.
if like in an hour or so, some of the big streamer goes on and it jumps right exactly to 120,000 viewers. Then I blame time zones.
Yeah. Well, I do believe that that is a win for me, even though I was way over, but not as way over as you were. We're keeping up with this in Discord as well, though. So I had everyone else pick a number. Let's see if anybody else got closer. Let's see. We had 70,000 from Dav. We had 55,000 from Durbin. Basically Dad had 15K.
That's close.
That was very close. And Great
Like,
Rhino.
how can it be that Darkest Dungeon has almost as many viewers as Wasteland 3? That's a shame.
Yeah, it's
Not that
interesting.
Darkest Dungeon is a bad game, but
It's just Twitch. It's Twitch is weird. Who knows what's going to happen on Twitch? I think that's why it's a fun wager though. Next week our wager is going to be Marvel's Avengers. The game releases. I'm going to go to Square Enix's official Twitter account and find the first tweet mentioning the Avengers. How many retweets will that tweet have next Friday? So I'm going to go to twitter.com/Square Enix, and I'm going to find the very first Marvel Avengers tweet, because Square Enix is putting out the game, and the first tweet that mentions Marvel Avengers, we're going to guess how many retweets that has.
But why would that change dramatically? Why would people start retweeting an old tweet?
No. Next week, whatever their very first tweet is.
Oh, I thought
like on their timeline for.
I thought you will now check for their.
No. I'm gonna just go to their newest. I should say their newest tweet, I guess.
Okay.
And whatever that tweet is, we're gonna guess how many retweets they're gonna have. So you can write it down. We'll write it down right now, and then we'll reveal at the end. Let's see. I'm gonna write mine down.
Spot here.
I mean, you don't have to if you don't have anything.
No, I think.
All right. Let's see. I'm writing mine down.
Like, I can't look at Square Enix USA because it's just private account.
Wait, it's a private account?
Square Enix USA, but I guess the general Square Enix one.
No, just the Square. Yeah, just Square. Just at Square Enix. It's interesting that Square Enix USA is private, though. Wonder what they're doing. Let's see.
Okay, but there's a question.
Okay.
Is it a tweet? Does it have to be a tweet from Square Enix or a retweet from Square Enix?
It has to be an official tweet from Square Enix. It can't be like
it
can't be like an IGN article that they retweet or something like that.
Because there's also a Marvel Avengers Twitter account itself. So
yeah, we're going to the official Square Enix, and they have to put out a tweet for the Avengers.
What have they done?
Then I just find the newest tweet that they have mentioning the Avengers.
Okay. Because to me, it looks like they're just retweeting the Avengers account.
Maybe I should do the Avengers account. Would that be better?
I don't know. It's your wager. I'm just.
I didn't think about this. Wait, is it Marvel Avengers? Is just the
Marvel's
Twitter account?
Avengers, yeah. I mean, you see it on the Square Enix. They retweeted a bunch, but like I'm just scrolling through and I don't see them anywhere putting having a tweet themselves talking about the Avengers.
at Play Avengers looks like the official. Looks like the official. So let's do that. Let's do the at Play Avengers. What is going to be the number of retweets I'm gonna check it next week about the same time. We'll just say like 3 p.m. my time.
Okay, I have a number. I have the right number.
Okay. You want to reveal right now, or you want to do it at the end?
Up to you. Up to you.
Let's do it right now.
Okay. Then I will actually write it down.
Okay. I've got my number written down. You guys in chat, feel free to put out a number that you think too. You can also put it in the podcast. We'll keep up with everything. All right, you have yours?
Yeah.
All right, we'll reveal on 3. All right, 3, 2, 1. All right, these are backwards. I have 250.
I have 7,537.
7,000? Wow, hold on. 7,000. How many?
7,537.
7537. Okay. You're aiming high again.
That's what I do.
All right, we will find out next week. All right, moving on. Let's see. We have a couple of questions here. These are a little silly questions. I think maybe we'll skip these from Basically Dad. I don't think he's here anyway. Let's just go ahead and jump into our games of the generation discussion. We are getting down to it, Akko. We have only got a few games left on here.
Yeah.
So
if anyone else wants to add some, feel free.
Yeah, feel free. So,
and this podcast will cease to exist because of you.
I am going to let me run through the ones that we've mentioned. I feel like the ones that we have left, like none of us are really experts in these, so I feel like we're kind of getting to a little bit more difficult discussion on them because we haven't really played a whole lot of these. But I will pick out one. Let's see. We have Dark Souls 3, Witchers 3, Watch Dogs, Fortnite, Rocket League, Persona 5, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, PT, Bloodborne, Red Dead Redemption 2, Spider-Man PS4, Hollow Knight, God of War, Sekiro, and last week we added Yakuza 0 and Divinity Original Sin 2. Which one you want this week?
I don't know. I at least played a little bit of Disco Elysium, so let's talk about that one. Because there's one game I don't have much positive to say about. The other games I haven't played. I mean, like, do you want? I mean, I'll pick Disco Elysium. Let's
go for it.
Okay, so
well, we can both talk about it.
Yeah, I haven't finished Disco Elysium, but I started it, and the reason why I didn't continue was not because of a lack of quality, but just time. And from what I've played, and the reason I think why Disco Elysium deserves a place on this list is because it really presented a unique way of storytelling, narrative, and also added some very interesting, unique elements to the RPG genre. It's very much of a slow burn of a game, but just the way it is presented and some of the aspects gameplay wise that it adds without spoiling anything, it really brought in some new looks to the genre, although late in that generation. And I think it'll be interesting to see if we see more of that. It's obviously very highly regarded. It got a bunch of awards, and people generally seem to love it. I can see it's not for everyone because it has a very unique style, and that usually divides people a little bit. But at the same time, if you don't mind a slow burn RPG with a unique narrative, with an interesting way of storytelling, multifaceted characters, and some additional new gameplay mechanics, I think this one is a really fun one.
Yeah, it seemed to do something that I guess a lot of games are not really doing right now, and telling a very narratively driven story, but also giving you multiple different options and multiple different ways of taking the story. And I mean, it won a bunch of awards last year, which I think a lot of people were surprised about. Maybe just because they didn't really know too much about it. But yeah, for that type of a game, it seems to really be doing something unique and special.
Yeah, and I think in a way it definitely plays very much like a tabletop RPG because you have so many different ways of handling things, different ways of approaching uh, conversations, and depending on how you progress with your character, that also opens up different types of solutions and further things to approach the world. And the world in that way is also very reactive to how you play. So that's very interesting. And I think if you have the time and if it's something that you want where you sit down and really put a lot of time into it and kind of just immerse yourself in this world, I think that is really where the game excels.
Yeah. Let's see. I think, was this someone from your community that said Hellblade?
That could be, yeah.
I wonder.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Did they write anything about it? Because I mean, I'll mention Hellblade. I think one of the big things that stands out to me is this game kind of told the story of God of War before God of War came out. It's actually really interesting. Looking at the documentary for God of War, and they were talking about kind of watching the development of this game, and they were like, "Darn, they're doing everything that we wanted to do." But yeah, Hellblade was I think very very influential this generation for a couple of reasons. One of the big reasons is they tried to, I don't know if they really were successful at this, at marketing it as a what they called a double A game. So, you know, we have so many AAA games and then we have these really small indie games, and they really wanted to make a game that was kind of fit right in the middle there to where it would have AAA quality, but maybe not be like the length of a AAA game. They just didn't have all the resources and everything, but they still set out to make a really well-told game, and they even used their I can't remember what her actual job title is, but she was basically the person that would just do like their video diaries. They ended up using her as the main actress for cinema, and turns out that she, you know, did a fantastic job. She won all kinds of awards.
A German lady.
Is she German?
She's German, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Is that team German?
No, I think they're Dutch.
Oh, okay, close enough.
I think might be wrong.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I think that they set out to do something that not a lot of people were doing, and you know, that was to tell a really good story and to make a great game, but one that they didn't have to have a massive budget for, and I think that they really succeeded. And now that studio was bought out by Microsoft, they are making a much, you know, bigger, higher budget game. Do what?
Rest in peace.
Yeah, I know. We'll see. But yeah, I really like how that game told its story. It was one of the games too that, much like God of War, it told its story in a single cut. It didn't have any cuts, no camera cuts or anything like that, which was really cool. You got anything to add to Hellblade?
I haven't played the game, so
okay.
It's still for me on the list of games to play. But I obviously know that a lot of people like it, and that that it also touches upon some mental health struggles and ideas and concepts. And I think that's always good to shine some light on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Akko, what do you got coming up? You gonna be playing anything other than Call of Duty?
I will do. Yeah, I will play some Call of Duty, depending on how motivated I am. Continue with that. Yeah, I also do want to check out Mad Max. That is for me on the list a little bit. So those are the two things that I have in mind of playing aside from Out of the Park Baseball.
Always Out of the Park Baseball. All
Always.
right. Well, thank you for being here. Let's see. I've got more Resident Evil coming up next week during the day. Probably be doing some more Stalker at night. And
More stalking at night.
yeah, I mean, this is the time to do it, right?
I guess so, yeah.
After I finish up Resident Evil, I think I'm going to be moving on to the next Zelda game, which will be the Wind Waker for me. I've kind of been slowly going through all of the mainline Zelda games. But yeah, that's gonna do it for today. You can find the show on all of the podcast services, as well as YouTube. I put that up as a VOD. And you can watch the show live every Friday at 2 p.m. Central Time. Until next week, hope you guys have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you guys next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.